What is going on, you guys? This is Justin back here with another video, and today we are doing another Frightful Friday review, and today we are going to be reviewing Brandon Lee's The Crow. So without further ado, let's get right into this. Alright, you guys, so The Crow starts off with the death of Eric Draven and his fiance, Shelly, I believe it is. And, you know, we're shown through all the stuff that happens to him. Then we switch to a scene of this little girl, I believe her name is Sarah. This little girl and a police officer at a stand, like a hot dog stand, basically. And they're talking and chatting. And all of a sudden this big explosion happens. Well, then we go back and we see that Eric comes back to life to right the wrongs that happened to him and his fiance. And, you know, a whole bunch of stuff happened to him. We are then introduced to the group of killers who took out Eric and his fiance Shelly, who are drinking at a bar and swallowing bullets. We are then taken back where he is at his old apartment and he has flashbacks to where his wife was messed around with. And he puts on makeup, he gets a crow, and he leaves his apartment saying goodbye to his cat Gabriel. But when he says goodbye to his cat Gabriel, he touches him and he can see all the flashbacks that happens. After that, after Eric's done putting on his makeup and everything, and after he seen all the stuff that happened from Gabriel, from touching him, he eventually runs into Tintin. He was one of the guys who got it on with his fiance. And Eric and Tintin, they go on to have a really good fight. And this is where Eric gets his iconic crow jacket from. He eventually ends up killing Tintin, leaving him with a whole bunch of knives in his chest, and takes his jacket. So, yeah. Continuing on, Eric moves on to a pawn shop where we meet a dealer who works with the bad guys. You know, the bad guys come to him, they have the jewelry from the people they've killed, and they sell it to him. And when Eric walks in, and he has a shotgun and everything, the only thing this man thinks to say, the pawn shop dealer, is, shit on me, shit on me. If I was in that type of situation, I would not be yelling shit on me. That I don't know. That just made me laugh. But we see that. Then Eric asks for the rest of the name of the gangbangers, and after the dealer tells him the names of the gangbangers, Eric responds with, "It's a jolly group of pirates with jolly group of pirate nicknames." I don't know why. I just like that. It makes me laugh every time I hear it. But you know, he's walking out. Well, he's about to walk out, and the guy goes, "Take anything you want." So he goes, "Thank you," and he takes a guitar, and he takes a shotgun, and he pours gasoline all over. And the guy's saying, "You know what? Once you get out there, they're gonna kill you. Like you're dead meat. You're done." And Eric turns around, and this scene's so badass. He says, "Is that gasoline I smell?" And he turns around and he shoots the shotgun that's filled with jewelry, which I thought was kind of cool. Then Eric runs into a cop. I believe his name is Aldridge, I believe. But he runs into a cop, and the cop says, "Move and you're dead." And Eric moves forward to him, and he says something like, "I move and I say you shoot," or something. So yeah, just the vibe he's giving off. He's very careless. Obviously, we know he can't die. He obviously got resurrected. Very, very cool. Obviously, one of my top 10 movies of my favorite movie list. So yeah. After that, Eric finds, Eric finds Sarah. And, you know, she's about to walk out in front of a car, and he grabs her, and obviously she doesn't know who he is, but he starts talking, and he says a line from one of his songs where he says, "It can't rain all the time." So now she knows that it's him. So he talks to her, basically tells her what's going on. Then after that, we go back to the police officer, and he basically goes through and tries to find Eric's old files, because he's looking at Eric. He's like, I swear to God, you were dead before. Like, I watched you die. So we go to the little girl's mom apartment, Sarah's mom's apartment, and she is running around with a guy named Funboy. Well, Funboy was one of the guys that got it on with, well, not got it on, did the dirty to Eric's wife. So Eric's boyfriend, no, no, the mom's boyfriend shoots Eric in the hand, and Eric acts like it hurt him, but obviously it didn't. And he's walking through looking at the guy with the big hole in his hand. He says a joke. He says, Jesus Christ, walks into a hotel, says to the innkeeper, he hands him 3 nails and says, can you hang me up for the night? So, continuing on with that, Eric ends up killing Funboy, and he goes up to the mom, and he says, Mother is the name for God on all lips and hearts of children. Which, that's such an iconic scene. If you guys haven't seen that scene, it's like very touching, I guess. He's basically convincing her to be good, get out there, do stuff for your daughter, like. And after Eric is done with the mom, he eventually ends up going back to Aldridge's house, and he walks in. Aldridge is in his underwear. It's kind of funny, but he goes up and he touches Aldridge, and he gets like scared. And we see that he has a flashback, and we find out that Aldridge stayed with Shelley through her final moments. So all that pain and suffering that he remembered is now inside of Eric. So after that, we are taken to the villain's lair, where we find out that the dealer from the pawn shop lives. And he is talking to the top guy now, Top Dollar. And Top Dollar and his sister are so weird in this movie. They're obsessed with blood and taking people's eyeballs. It's very, very weird. But he's basically warning them, saying that Eric Draven's back, he's coming for you guys. And obviously Top Dollar doesn't believe him. So what he does is he stabs him in the throat, and he shoots him a bunch of times. So when we transition back to Eric, he's playing his guitar on the top of the roof, and Sarah starts playing his record. So honestly, I really like how he plays his guitar on the top of the roof. It's honestly really cool. Such an iconic scene. Such an iconic movie, honestly. And if you guys haven't seen, I'm wearing the Ice Nine Kills Crow collab. Love it. I got this at Hot Topic. You can get it there if you want it. But after that, Eric then gets in the car. So he finds T-Bird, and I don't know this guy, his other partner's name. He's the really crazy guy that acts crazy in the movie. But Eric finds T-Bird and that guy, and the crazy guy gets out and goes to the store. Well, Eric gets in the car with T-Bird, and obviously T-Bird's the head honcho of the whole thing, who killed his fiance. So he gets in, and he straps him up, and he puts bombs on the car or something, I forget. And he basically makes T-Bird drive off this ledge with a whole bunch of dynamite, and he blows it up. And the crazy guy's seen it. So now the crazy guy went back to Top Dollar. Well, we go back to Sarah and her mom. Obviously, we know that Sarah's mom was affected by Eric, and she's trying to do better. And when Sarah wakes up, she sees her mom, and her mom's making her eggs, and she's like, well, how do you like your eggs? And she was giving her shit, calling her mom by her real name, which honestly, I kind of can't blame the kid. With your mom not being in your life, just going off and messing off with other guys, that'd be horrible. But then the kid calls her mom again, and they start eating. But the officer we seen earlier is getting yelled at for letting Eric go. Then we go back to where Eric is burning old pictures of him and Shelley to forget the bad memories. Sarah then goes into his old apartment, where he is nowhere to be found. Then their cat Gabriel shows up. She's talking to him, and she starts talking. She's like, Eric, I know you're here. I just want to talk to you. I want to know what's going on. And eventually Eric magically appears, and he ends up giving her Shelly's ring. Well, after that, we go back to the crazy guy that was with Funboy, and crazy guy that was with Funboy was he's talking to Top Dollar now, and you know, he is saying he's seen a ghost of Top Dollar, and obviously, like, Top Dollar is like, what the hell is going on? Like, we killed this guy. I know this guy isn't back. So he just thinks he's being a nutcase, and he punches him in the face. So what happens is, we go back to the officer and Sarah sitting at a hot dog booth talking about, because, you know, they've both seen Eric, but they haven't seen or talked about Eric to each other. So she goes up to the officer. She's like, you know, can people come back from the dead, obviously? And he's like, well, it's not supposed to work that way, but have you seen somebody? And she goes, yeah. He goes, well, I have too. But he doesn't really say who it is. So after that, we transition to Eric playing his guitar, and then we get a scene of a mosh pit inside of a club. Now, this is really cool. This is one of the most iconic scenes, and I believe this is the scene that Brandon Lee tragically lost his life on. I don't know. It might have been this one or the scene with T-Bird shooting at him in the mom's apartment. But this is the scene where he walks in, basically Heath Ledger Joker style, inside of a room full of gangbangers, and he's talking. He's like, hey, that crazy guy right there, he's the last one I want. He's the last one that did stuff to my wife. He's the last one I want. I just want to kill him. That's it. And they're like, well, you want him, you're going to have to go through us. So eventually Eric does go through them. And Eric gets his hands on the crazy guy. And the crazy guy basically says, you know, your wife was a skank, this and that. And, you know, rightfully so, Eric throws his ass out the window, which I do not blame him one bit. One thing I forgot to mention was back when he was killing T-Bird, after he killed T-Bird, he took some gasoline and made this really cool, like, crow made out of fire, which I really dug. So cool. After that, Eric is getting chased by a helicopter, which he jumps off the roof and gets into a car with the officer that we've seen at the beginning of the movie. Again, I think his name is Aldridge. Correct me in the comments if I'm wrong. But he kind of does like a Batman thing where Aldridge is talking to him while he's driving, and all of a sudden Eric's gone. Eric runs into a group of trick-or-treaters, and this scene was so cool. These kids are laughing and running and playing, and obviously they think he's just some random guy on Halloween, so he's sitting there laughing with them. I mean, honestly, a really cool, wholesome moment. And after that, he finds Sarah laying by Shelly's grave, and Sarah walks away after, you know, getting the ring from Eric, and we find out she gets kidnapped by Grange, who is played by the iconic Tony Todd. And, you know, she gets kidnapped, and she is with Top Dollar and Micah now. And Eric hears her yell. Well, Eric was about to go to rest because he was laying down by Shelly's grave thinking he was done. Well, he's not. So what happens is he gets up and he goes to find her. Now we get the final showdown between Eric and Top Dollar. Eric's powers are fading away because he thought he was done. He went to go lay down by Shelly's grave. And Top Dollar wants to kill him, obviously. Out of nowhere, Aldridge comes to help Eric. Aldridge shoots Grange, and he runs out of bullets. He then talks to Eric and tells him to take Sarah out of there. So Eric's like, you know what, I can finish this. This is my fight, not yours. Take her out of here. Make sure she's safe. So Aldridge then gets shot, and Eric goes upstairs to face Top Dollar. And he makes the crow attack Micah's eyes, which is honestly really funny because that was her whole obsession in the movie, was people's eyeballs. So, funny seeing her go out, seeing the stuff she likes get taken away from her. But yeah, after that, Eric and Top Dollar fight it out on top of the church roof. Top Dollar stabs Eric with a sword. He says, every man has a devil, and you can't rest until you find him. Eric says, I have something I want to give you. And he puts his hands on Top Dollar's head, right? And what he's doing is he's transferring that, I think it's 3 hours or 30 hours of suffering and pain into Top Dollar's like body, mind, or soul, or whatever. And what happens is After that, Top Dollar slips, he falls, and he gets impaled by a gargoyle. I think its wings are like this, and you know the horns are coming out of his mouth. Honestly, a really cool looking scene. But yeah, after that, Eric goes back. He talks to Shelly and Aldridge, and after that, he goes back to his grave, where we see the ghost of Shelly to take him home. So yeah, that is my review of The Crow. I honestly really thought it was a really good movie. Top 10 movie. Cannot wait to see The Crow 24. I know there's been mixed reactions on it. I've heard some good things, heard some bad things. Spencer from Ice Nine Kills, he says it's a good movie. Just some weird song choices. But Matt Hardy, he gave it a 3 out of 5. So, you know, honestly, I'm kind of excited to see it. I do not think it's going to beat the original. The original will always hold a special place in my heart. But yeah, 10 out of 10 for me. Let me know what you guys think about it down in the comments below. As always, you guys, stay groovy, stay safe, you keep your people safe. Remember, God is good all the time. It has been Justin, and I'm out. Peace.